Hey everybody, welcome back to the Uncommon Edge. And today I have a special guest for you. And I want to just kind of give you a little intro here. See, there's leaders, and then there are the ones who make leaders wake up. And my guest today is one of the most quietly powerful, deeply disarming, and impact-driven people I have ever met. Mary Belden McGrath isn't just here to motivate you, she's here to move you. As the co-founder from Driven Leadership and co-creator of the Bold Advanced Leadership Experience, a program that doesn't just tweak your skill set, it challenges you, it challenges your identity. Mary has helped thousands of entrepreneurs, executives, and everyday warriors confront the truth about how they show up in the world, and they transform because of it. But behind the resume and behind the curriculum is someone who has done the deep work herself, and that is what makes her dangerous in the best way. Today, I'm not just here to talk about her work. I want to talk about her uncommon edge and what shaped her, sharpens her, and still surprises her. Mary, I am truly honored to have you here. Let's get into it.
Oh my God, I'm like listening to this intro. I'm like, I want to know this chick. Whoa,
Well, I've gotten
thank
to know her,
you.
and she's amazing. I've been through your program as well. I'd love you to kind of just give us a introduction of who you are.
Well, I want to take your words and go, woo. Yeah, my name is Mary Belden McGrath. I am the co-creator, co-founder of Driven Leadership. We do leadership development, management training, really waking businesses and people up, transforming them. I have two amazing daughters who are my best friends. And by the way, co-creator of Driven, I do it with my husband. So talk about uncommon edge. Whoo, that's something else. Yeah, we can get into that. No, seriously, he's good. I have 3 grandkids. I know. And a bonus son. And I'm passionate about making a difference. And I believe that we're never too old to be what we want to be. And it's never too late. So I'm grateful. I'm so grateful to be on here. I'm excited.
Well, I'm excited.
I'm going to be your first guest.
You are the first guest. I'm super, super excited about it. So far, everybody's been listening along. We've been talking about mindset training, all kinds of stuff. And a lot of that stuff is diving into like the bold stuff that you do. But I want to start and begin somewhere like maybe unexpected. Everybody has like your LinkedIn bios and like all that stuff. But I want to talk about the version of Mary that existed before all the titles and all that stuff. What's the most like unleader-like thing about you that actually makes you a better leader?
Oh, the most unleader-like. I'm very unpolished. I don't know. I just shoot from the cuff. I trust my heart and my gut. I'm not a planner. I am a person who just says yes and I figure it out. I challenge my team. I'm stubborn. I'm leader. Like that's been me from the very get-go of being born into this world. My mother said I came out screaming to be heard. She looks at me and I'm just bright red and I demanded attention. And yeah, when I say I'm unpolished and I'm unapologetically me, I really believe it's more authentic.
I genuinely appreciate that and know that there's a lot of truth behind that unapologetic you. And like one of the things that I absolutely loved about you is when we first met and we learned about, the program that you have and all that stuff. You have a unique ability to just see into people. And I absolutely love that. You came into my life at a time that was going through all kinds of turbulence and stuff like that, and you helped me get realigned. And I already know the answer to this next question, but I'm curious to know what your take is on this. What's something from your life people would actually never expect to show up in the way that you coach, like bold or anything else that you do?
Say that again.
So what's something from your life people would never expect to show up in the way that you coach?
I don't have scripts. I just when I say I go from my gut, there's times there's a guy that I coach. I've coached him. He was my second person I've ever coached. So I'm going to tell you a funny story. The first time I ever did a coaching program, it was via online. It was like this journal engine thing. And I was so excited to get my first client. And it was a 10-week process. It was a 10-week program. I charged them $50. It's never been about the money. It was $50 total for 10 weeks. And Eric was so excited. He was like, $50 a session. I'm like, no, $50 total. So I would learn through people. It was just like this gut. I didn't go to a coaching school. I went through training. Where I came from, it was this crazy, intense, boot campish. You felt like you were immersed into a master's degree to do experiential training. And so I took a lot of that within coaching. And I would learn, if people actually knew this, well, they're going to know this. When I say yes and I figure it out, there are times I'm planning my coaching session 30 minutes before I get on the call with a person. Or I'd send them a question and then from it, I would just take it. And then whatever we worked on throughout that session, then I would take that into my next session. So it was never a laid out plan. It just is and I mean, thank God Bold has a plan. I mean, and it does have a plan.
Yes,
but I have the ability to free flow through it.
But let's talk about that for like a quick second, because I've done that type of stuff in some of my coaching things. But that's a skill all of in its own. Like you can't, like somebody that doesn't have the experience in the background can't just like, all right, what are we going to talk about and build the plane as like you jump off the cliff and build the plane on the way down, commit first and figure it out later. Like most people don't have the edge to be able to do that. And that's a skill that gets refined after that plane crashes multiple times, right?
I think it's a willingness. I believe, so this is my core. There's a belief in me that if we put ourselves in a place where we have no other option, we figure it out. Like we do. And I mean, there's a part of me that was wired that way, yet people who also need a plan, they're the ones that oftentimes keep themselves stuck because it's never perfect. And they have to jump. Sometimes, yes, you need at least a little bit of a framework. Yet we figure it out. As you learn, as you grow. When we first started Driven, I remember it was literally the year of yes. I heard somebody say a year of yes, and I had no idea what to do. I mean, we went from this other company, but I wanted to come from a place of integrity and not steal their stuff. And that's one thing I'm super proud of myself for. And what we've done within Driven is we figured out what was important to us. We did the research. We did classes. Yes. I mean, I've taken classes. I've got skills. But I remember just going, yes. And Eric would look at me. Eric's my husband. He looked at me and goes, we do that? I'm like, yeah. He goes, we do that? I'm like, we're going to figure it out. So I think that within every person, if we get out of our own way, and we say yes, and we put yourself in a place of no retreat. It is Napoleon Hill, right? Burn your ships.
Yeah.
I love when I read Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, and I read that story. There's 2 stories in that book that changed my life.
I'm old school
yes.
here. I got the record, man.
But
yeah, it's awesome.
Such a classic. But in 2004, 2005, that was one of the stories that changed my life because I was up against a rock and a hard place and I didn't know what I was doing. And I heard that. I was like, man, when you believe in something, you leave yourself no retreat. So say yes, commit, figure it out, do the work, and it starts to come into play.
Yeah. And that's helped me out a lot. And part of that commitment, if you wouldn't mind for some of the listeners, you teach a thing in Bold about running into the roar. And that's part of what you're talking about, like commit first and figure it out. Can you kind of like bring that out just a little bit for everyone that's listening?
Yeah, absolutely. So it was actually a book that we work with a lot of college sports teams. And Peter Smith, who was the USC men's tennis 5-time national champion, we got to work with his team and he goes, you have to read this book. And it was called Run to the Roar by Paul Assaiante. And it prefaces the way lions hunt. And so lions, for those of you who don't know, they'll hunt in pride. So it could be, 5, 7, 12 lions, 20 lions, their family. They are known for their strength. They have 500 pounds of massive muscle. I don't know if you've ever seen a lion. Africa's on my bucket list. The zoo, right? But 500 pounds of massive muscle. They can leap 36 feet. I mean, could you imagine seeing a lion leap 36 feet? They can run a football field, 35, 40 miles an hour, but then they're tuckered out. So they have this crazy strength, but they also have this crazy roar. So the roar can be tracked for over 5 miles in the savannas of Africa. And that always blows me away, because if you can figure out where you are 5 miles and pinpoint, a lion roars, you could hear it from that place. So the way they hunt, they circle their prey. So they have like a great grandma lion who's up front, and she's diseased. She's crippled. Her teeth are falling out. She can't hunt, but she still has this crazy roar. So the rest of the pride of the lions, the young, the hungry, the strong, they'll flank the prey, and they're hunting antelope. And antelope are known for their endurance. So they can run 0 to 61 miles an hour in less than 3 seconds. 0 to 61 miles an hour. And they can run 30 miles an hour for 20 miles. So they have this crazy endurance. So the way they're fighting or they're hunting, Grandma Lion lets out this roar. And the antelope, I always go, what do? They scatter.
Yeah, they run. Yeah, run away.
They run. But they don't run to the roar. They run away, which is right into the trap. And the way Paul Assaiante prefaces, he goes, that lion, great grandma lion, is our fear. It's our doubt. It's our unbelief. It is whatever is keeping us stuck. And human nature is, when it roars, our thought is, well, I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I don't have the education. I don't know enough. Like whatever that is, we run away from it. And we go into the trap of complacency, and then we get angry, and then we blame, and we make excuses. Well, nothing changes if freaking nothing changes. And when we run to the roar, that's where life, that's where creativity, that's where fun, that's where excitement is. And that is, and I never knew I was doing that. And I teach that. Yes, you can feel the fear, and courage is that. You do it afraid. It's not that you don't feel it. Right. You notice it, and you recognize, what's that roar? What's that grandma lion? If I keep making excuses, if I keep sabotaging myself, well, what is it that's stopping you?
Yeah.
How do you say yes?
Yes.
And do one little step at a time, right? Like this podcast.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you. And we all have we all have something that we're supposed to do. Every single one of us. And if it's not you, who?
Yes. Fun fact for those of you that are listening,
I'm a little passionate.
You are. But the fun fact was, as we're going through this podcast, and I've talked to you guys a few times about doing imperfect action is better than no action at all. So yeah. I'm trugging away, and I think right now on air, I think there's 16 or 17 episodes, and we have some in the bank or whatever. And I had this intention of having guests way earlier on, and we're building out this thing, and Mary's just gently behind me, just do it. And she's seeing pictures of this studio getting built and all this stuff. And I have other guests that are lined up, and I made a commitment to Mary. I'm like, you're going to be my first guest. And so I've literally held off as our schedules are doing all kinds of other things, and my schedule is crazy and this, that, and the other. But we made it happen. So that was part of running into the roar. This podcast was running into the roar. Going to the Bold Advanced Leadership was running into the roar. When I went into Bold, I knew nothing about it. I had a friend reach out to Mary and invited me out there, and Mary did.
Kevin Allen.
Yes, Kevin Allen. And he got us going onto this stuff, and he's like, hey, just going to send you out to the middle of the woods somewhere in Washington, and just trust this Mary girl, and she'll be good. And when Mary and I first got on the phone together, there was a connection that happened. I can't explain it. Goosebumps happened, the whole 9 yards. She was speaking my language. She came to me at a difficult point in my life, and it was like a turning point. So I was like, man, I know a lot of you guys here listening, might try to find your edge right now, or you might be in a difficult point in your life. And I'm like, man, one of the first guests that I want to be on the show is somebody that was truly dear and special to me. And I was honored that Mary was gracious enough to spend her time with us, and do all that. And thank you, Mary. But now I do have a question for you. Given everything that you've done and like the awesome person that you've become, if like the 12-year-old version of yourself was standing next to you right now, like what would she be really proud of herself, or what maybe she didn't expect?
That you could do it. That I could do it. So I was raised in a very strict religious home. I was actually, in a way, kind of bullied at school because I was different.
Mm-hmm.
I was not allowed to wear pants, makeup, jewelry. And so I was always ousted as a weird kid. And underneath, I didn't want to be weird. I wanted to be accepted. We all want to be accepted.
Yeah.
And that 12-year-old was very confused, angry, and yet was also a fighter. And if I was 12 looking at what I have accomplished, I'm so freaking proud of myself. So proud of myself. And I still remember, it was so I'm 60. I remember being, I think I was like 30 years old, 32, standing outside looking up at the sky going, I meant to do something. Like I always felt that I was meant to do something and I didn't know what to do. And because of ups and downs in life and choices, and I don't have a college degree. I have a life degree. And I remember that was part of, people would say, well, what are you going to do? What's the letters behind your name? And I actually had a really awesome coach. He actually just passed away. And he said, it doesn't matter. He goes, would you rather learn from someone who has letters behind their name, or someone who's lived it, who's been there, who's done that? Mm-hmm. And Bob Combs, he just said, be you. Be you. People who can relate to you, who need you, are the ones that are going to accept that. Yeah.
Yeah. And oh man, you're speaking my language now. Cause I have this whole idea, that you don't have to be, this guru person to help anybody, to mentor somebody or whatever. It's actually looking internally and finding what's uncommon about you. You mentioned like you were like the weird kid. I embrace the weird, because usually the weird, like the things that we often hide or overlook, becomes what we lead with. And that's what makes you uniquely you. I have this thing we talk about on the show, that we're all uncommon by design. That's the way God intended us. We all have a unique purpose, a destination, a destiny that we're all here for a reason. And I truly believe that uncommon edge is the reason. And a lot of us have a tendency to like push it away because, that makes us weird, or that makes us, weird or whatnot. But then we turn around, and when you actually embrace it and you learn how to wield it, early on in early episodes, I talk about Cyclops, if you're familiar with the X-Men or whatnot. And he has this entire thing where, he's got these special glasses that helps him control the lasers that shoot out of his eyes. But when he wasn't controlling his superpower, he was destroying everything around him. And then when he finally was able to control that superpower and understand it and wield it with power and precision, he was then able to execute and help all kinds of people. I mean, I know it's superhero fiction and all that type of stuff, but if you take that analogy and apply it, that's what I'm hearing you talk about.
Yeah. Well, and it's, I believe there's a superpower, there's a superhero in all of us. And it was interesting because you and I talked a little bit a couple of days ago to just kind of prep for this. And I've been thinking the past day and a half, well, what's my uncommon edge? And I realized that human nature, because I'll ask this question and people are like, well, what is my strength? And we don't see in ourselves what other people see.
Right.
And And then we question it. Well, is that really, is that really my superpower? There's other people, and then we get stuck in the comparison trap. And to forget other people, comparison is the trap of the enemy. And when you look at your own superpower, whatever that is, and you just step into it, and yes, it can be used for good, it can be used for not good, because I always say our greatest strength becomes our greatest weakness. But when we own it and we step in it on purpose to truly help, who are we not to play bigger in life?
Yeah.
And it's not ego. This world needs us.
Yes. Yes. That's the whole thing behind this. I knew you were the right person for the first episode. Cause yeah, you're speaking the language. It's interesting. I was on vacation with, Josh Latimer, who was the one that I was telling you about that pushed me to get going on this podcast and does all this stuff. And, we were in a little area of Frankenmuth. If any of you guys are from Michigan, it's like a little Bavarian thing. And there's a metal workshop while we were in there, and we got to like forge our own knives and Christmas ornaments. It was Christmas time at this time. But it was interesting as I'm watching them forge the swords and the knives and the axes and all this type of stuff. They had to apply an immense amount of heat, an immense amount of hitting the metal to make it take shape. And then next thing I know, they then go ahead and do the refinement of the blade. And that is something that I found to be really interesting and metaphorically aligned with the uncommon edge stuff that we're talking about. So if you wouldn't mind, can you tell me about a moment like when life stripped away the armor and like what came through, like the forging of your edge?
Yeah. So I had taken a leadership class back in 2003, and that's where I really rediscovered who I was. We forget. I was in a nasty divorce, single mom, lost me along the way. So the 12-year-old would have looked at me going, "Ooh, girl, you're confused." Went to work for that company. And when I say Jason Lindstrom was one that really helped us, but there was this, before he came into the picture, I was one of their top salespeople. I became one of their top trainers. 2009 hits. And as y'all know, 2009, the world falls apart. Leadership training is considered soft skills. Everything goes away. They took my ability to train away. They took my book of business, divided us up into teams. They gave 80% of my revenue, which was a lot, to somebody else, and I had to start over. And you talk about being stripped away. For everything that I thought that I had become, we had the opportunity to actually buy the company, and I got angry. And in anger, there's no creativity. In anger, there's no gratitude. In anger, just shit happens.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was like this door kept shutting on me. And I was so mad because I'm looking at this door and blaming and realizing that so fast forward, that happens. Jason Lindstrom is the president of the company, pulls me into his office and says, "You and Eric are supposed to do something. Whether you do it with us, whether you start your own company, whether you do a blend." So here, all the doors are shutting. And he's giving me permission. Could you imagine your top salesperson, one of your top trainers going, "Go start your own company. Go." And we ended up moving to Southern California. So we were in Las Vegas, Southern California. But I still was looking at the closed door and walking on the beach. And this is how Driven was birthed. Because we still have permission, but I'm so pissed off. And Eric goes, "What do you want to do? What do you want to do?" And I said, "I just want to wake people up. I just want to have people step in." And I was like, I saw this, like, that their car was like their life and they were stuck. I go, "I just want to give people the gas. I want to give people the the tools to start living and to keep going. Because what would you call the company? I said, Driven for Life. And of course that was wise because I see this car. And we end up, GoDaddy.com, because he goes, well, if that domain's not taken. And I'm like, no, it's not taken. It's like one of those things that you know that you know that you know. $14.99, boom, take the domain. And then we parked because I was afraid. And so everything is stripped. I have this idea. And we talk about the uncommon edge. And you have to tap into that part of you that it's like, what do you fight for? What do you believe? What is your why? And if we don't have a why, if we don't have passion, if we don't have a belief, then why the hell do we get up every day? We don't. We get stuck in the trap of this numbness. And so, yes, I'm taking action, but I'm still hollow because I don't have a vision. I just know what I wanted. I mean, there's a little bit of vision, but I don't know how. So that was October. February, I am still stuck. And I take this, I see this, this women's thing about women setting goals, women on purpose. I'm like, I need that. So I actually sign up for it. And I sit in there and I'm like, I could train this. I could train this better. And I'm like, stop at Mary, be a student. And in there, I took action. I walked away from that first one, got our company, went to the attorney, and we're legit. And I have no idea about business, right? I didn't go to college. He goes, do you want an S Corp? Do you want an LLC? Do you want it women owned? I'm like, sure, women owned. Let's do an S Corp. And then you expect the phone to ring. And of course, it's not going to ring. So the hollow shell. So we joined the chamber. We started knocking on doors. We started doing crazy stuff. And through that, when I say it's the year of yes, when it was the place that was so scary, when everything is gone, we start it. And then I went in for a procedure and they accidentally cut through my colon and I went toxic. I went septic, but I didn't know that. I went home. And 24 hours later I was in the ER getting my colon surgery. That was the defining moment of everything. So we start Driven, we pause. I'm a shell of nothing. I have ideas. And then I'm face to face with death's door going, I'm done playing small. And that was my wake up call. And I really believe that sometimes we need that wake up call. It's not necessarily rock bottom. Sometimes rock bottom does wake us up, but what is your wake up call? And in life, if you're comfortably numb and you're not leveling up, if you're saying, well, one day, someday, I wish I would have, freaking wake up. And it's not like this big thing. It is step by step, it's day by day. What's one thing that you can do to level up? What's one action you can take that will help launch you? And it became that. It became, take a college class, take a course. Yes, go in and help people. I remember sitting networking and it was just like, how do I serve you? Not what can I give? How do I pour into you? And I realized the more I poured into people, the more doors would open, but I wasn't pouring into people just for a door to open. It really became, I want to sit alongside of you and give you wings to fly. And in it, everything was I can't say it's magic because it's in those moments where you're in that flow state. Is it scary as hell? Yeah. Is it worth it? Yes. Would I change anything? No. No. I get to wake up every day and do something to make an impact. But still, it's a choice.
Yeah. Mary, I love the fact that, you got vulnerable and shared that story. I knew of that from conversations we've had privately. However, for those that are listening out there that are like, hey, I'm facing some like real adversity. Maybe they haven't faced the knock at death's door. Maybe they have. Who knows? Like, what was the thing that shook your voice? That was the hard thing that you had to say or do anyway to get you through that time?
Well, I was in denial first that I was on death's door. I just know that I'm surviving a colon surgery and I'm walking the hospital and I'm looking at all these people who just looked hopeless. And this nurse was walking with me and said, "You're so fortunate." I'm like, "Yeah, no." He goes, "You have no idea. The same thing happened to the person in the room next to you. That person's not making it. You have a second chance." And that was my moment where I'm done. I don't want to go through the motions anymore. I want my life to matter. And I walked out. I started coaching. I coached a guy. I had come home from the hospital. It was like on a Monday. On Thursday, I am still in bed and I'm coaching. It was actually a college coach. And I was like, "How are you doing?" I'm like, "Well, I just got out of the hospital." But it was, every day became, I just want to live. I want to make an impact.
Yeah. I mean, I think everybody that's listening can relate to that too. Cause I mean, I can't think of anybody that doesn't want to do something like important with their life and make a lasting impact. And some people are more driven than others to do that. And like you sat there and you just kind of like laid out like the cost of becoming the version of you that people now see as the guide. But like it's in those moments, like those uncomfortable, like unfiltered moments that give weight to everything that comes next in your journey. You talked about like, the 12-year-old version of you that's just like so freaking proud of everything that you've come. And now like you're walking others through the fire. I've been through the experience that you give. And like I asked early on, like, what's the thing that people might be surprised, as I got to know you and you're like so kind and gentle and all that stuff, on this end, but then you come into class, there's a fierce part of you that comes out that I was not
That is
expecting.
me. But that's me. I was telling Eric, I go, "You know why I love it so much? Because it's every facet of my life. I
Yeah.
am a fierce fighter for people. I want them to wake up. I'm willing to have hard conversations to help people be better. But I have this compassion, and I'll walk alongside you. I'll cry with you. I'll hold you. I'm not going to coddle you though. Sometimes I'll, like my grandkids, maybe a little bit. Then I'm like, "All right, so what are we going to do?" But going back into the moment, the hospital, but everything changed from there because we were still working in as a consultant for the other company. We had started Driven. We were still a consultant, and I cut that branch. I cut the boat.
Okay.
And we went full time. So here I am, and we blew through every part of our savings because you go through a major surgery like that, and I couldn't work. I was out.
Yeah.
And then it actually they didn't put me together right, and so for 3 years I was in massive pain and had to have another surgery. So, but I was a fighter. It's my back was against the wall, and I just refused to quit.
And that's a big thing. Necessity is, like they say, the mother of all innovation, and that comes to like our lives as well, not just like figuring something out. You can figure it out that way. I do want to go from the scars to the skill set, but not like a workshop thing. I'd like to like open up the window or allow the listeners to peek in the window on like how you think, how you move, and how you actually see people. Can you tell me about a breakthrough, like when somebody had, in your presence, whether it was bold or whatever, that still lingers with you? Like, what did that moment teach you about transformation?
When they find their voice. So you've been through Bold.
Yeah.
It's designed we don't tell you who you need to be as a leader. We provide the environment for you to see who you are and you to step in. And over and over and over, when I get to watch people step into their voice, to have their ideas heard, to realize it's okay, sometimes to not be okay. It's okay to be passionate about what you want. It's okay to yell. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be you. And I get to see that over and over and over. I can't give names away, but
No,
like
I don't expect you to do that.
every single class, every class, to watch someone have their breakthrough moment, to watch someone be able to speak confidently, to watch someone be able to set boundaries, to watch someone write a book, start their own business because of the belief in them, the belief that it's possible, the belief that I can do it scared, but I believe in me.
Yeah. And there's a whole system that you go through, and I don't want to dive into your proprietary methods on how you take somebody through the experience, but you methodologically release things to help people get into different frames of mind, like how to eliminate fear. Or I think even at one point, you talk about like fear isn't the enemy. It's like a mask, and you unpack that and all that type of stuff. Like, what is like in your mind, after bringing thousands of people through the course now, what's been like the biggest moment of impact when people are going through the course?
It's the entire process. So the first night it's a wake up call, and a lot of you get so uncomfortable.
Yeah,
And
you
we talk
do.
about being comfortable, being uncomfortable. So what's the story? What story do you tell yourself? In human nature, we want to blame, we want to make excuses. We have on the mask, we put all these judgments out, and the environment allows you to start to take the mask down. You start to realize the assumptions that we make, the judgments that we have, starting to look within in order to look without, right? So it starts inward. Second day, usually people go to bed, I always say, with sometimes a few more questions or
Yeah.
what the hell did I get myself into? Then answers. And then as it goes, it just keeps taking a layer off. And through, it's not one process. It's the entire thing. It's having fun. So we actually have a flow to it. There is a oh shit moment to introspective. Then there's emotion. Then there's a little bit of fun. Then there's laughter. Then there's emotion, and there's oh shit moment. And the entire time, and you're creating this environment where you're safe and everyone's going through it. I talk about if you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go with others. And I think the biggest thing that where you truly start to have the transformation or the ahas or the willingness to step in is when people are in your corner. When every single person is fighting to help you level up.
I want to set the scene for everyone that's listening, and I can't speak to all the different trainings that they do, because I know that Mary and Eric does a lot more than just the bold thing, but that's the one that I personally have gone through, and I can testify to say that it's an amazing program. But and I don't want this to be like a sales thing by any means, but she's talking about a lot of things, and I want you to get a mindset of like what is experienced through there. It's a 2-day, like all immersive thing. Like I went to it in Washington, so we're like in the middle of the woods, going through this thing. There's a cabin, and you're bunked with other people, so there's like this kind of like militant vibe to it at first, and you're kind of like, what, what's going on, and all this type of stuff. And there's the bunk chatter, and then we go into it, and then you're expecting one version of Mary to come out, and a different version comes out, and like we go through all this stuff. So now you're on edge, as like what's going on. But everything has a meaning, and you learn something about yourself that you don't know right now, and it's a really powerful, impactful thing. And what is the most impressive thing for me was how quickly a group of people became connected. Like I still talk to people that I went through the course with to this day, and it's a really powerful transformation. But one thing that I'm really curious about, because I know a lot of emotions run high through this, like when people are looking at parts of themselves that they've never wanted to confront before, there's got to be a level, because I do coaching as well, and there's got to be a level from the coach's side you unexpectedly change while trying to lead somebody else through those emotions. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I'm sure that's had to have happened.
Where I see somebody one way and I change with them.
Yeah, maybe like, has there ever been a time where you unexpectedly changed? Like maybe you as you're leading somebody, like you're coming through learning moments on the coaching side?
There's always learning moments. My biggest learning are the areas that I've judged in life, and I do my best. I believe one of my gifts is I truly am a bridge, and God's taught me a long time ago to not judge and to be present. And yet, human nature, there's times it's like, whoo, okay, you're someone that I've had judgment in the past, and I feel I can't even explain it. It's like this unconditional love and acceptance to see the person, like the person. And it has changed me over and over and over to look past, to know that every single person has something in them. There's nothing more powerful than a human soul on fire. And I know it's like I've just learned throughout the years to trust the process, because even if people are, they're not buying in or they're pushing back, and it's being empathetic and it's giving. Usually a lot of times people just want to know the why. They don't want to be told what to do. They want to know why they're supposed to do it. And so it's answering, it's addressing some of their fears or their concerns, asking questions. Oh my gosh, as a coach, and that goes for any business owner that's listening, any leader, we got to get away from telling. It's not about our knowledge. Sometimes, yes, we can help. Yet the more you ask questions, the more you let them discover, the more they'll buy in. And it's getting away from the fear of, oh my gosh, what if you don't have the answer if they ask a question? Okay, but they have the answer.
Yeah, I mean, more oftentimes people have to be reminded more than they have to be taught, right? At the end of like all of this stuff, like when you go through this bold and like the other trainings that you do, like what I like about it is like you don't just teach tools, like you actually create a space for the person's identity to be rewritten if need be. Like, and I think that's like really rare. I just did an episode, I recorded one a few back about personal identity and how to explore that and do that. Do you mind if we explore like what you're seeing right now in the world of leadership? Because I think you're really hammering on something that's really gold right there. So like zooming out, like this is something that's like popping out. So like zooming out, like there's a lot of noise in leadership right now, and they're talking about all kinds of different things with economy and all that stuff. But what are you actually paying attention to most right now that most people might be ignoring when it comes to leadership?
There's so much change. There's a lot of fear. AI with, all of that's happening. Do we know enough? Do we have enough? How do we keep our people? So there's a lot of, and if you look at the state of the American workforce and how many people are unhappy, we go into self-protective mode. And I think a lot of times leaders are missing out. They don't know, because they're protecting themselves. It's sometimes they're not as authentic or letting people see who they truly are or taking the time to truly connect. We get so busy, right? It's so busy. We just got to make the next sale. We got to hit the next budget. We got to make sure we're not losing this person. But if we actually pause, is it really about, yes, there's numbers that we have to hit. Are you comparing to someone else? Or are you comparing to yourself? How do you connect to what's most important to you, to your value, to your vision, to your belief? We work with a lot of companies within the trades where you see a lot of PE groups buying them out, right? And so there's right so much, it's huge. And so we see the fear of now leadership changes, and there's massive trust issues underneath. And then people leave. It's even within that, if leadership can pause and they stay connected, they address people's fears. People want to be seen, heard, and know that they have value. If we as leaders aren't taking care of ourselves, if we're not plugged in, if we're not doing healthy things to set us up for the day, then how the hell are you going to set your people up?
Yeah.
Everything that we do and everything we don't do rises and falls on leadership.
No, I'm.
You,
Oh, good.
and I was going to say, we talk about John Maxwell, the law of the lid, right? And a lot of times leadership, they want their people to do something, but you as that leader, if you are not growing your lid of leadership, that is your effectiveness, the people that you lead and manage will never outgrow you. They can't. You cap them. So if you're asking your people to do different things and you're not willing to do it, they will leave you.
Yes.
Or they become numb and
Yes.
disengaged.
Yes. And I've been victim of that as well. I don't even like to use the word victim, but like I've sabotaged myself in that way from a leadership standpoint, and that's going through paying the dues, the tuition of the School of Hard Knocks as you try something and it doesn't work, and then you learn from that and you get back on the horse and you do it again and again and again. But those things are all super important. And Mary, like you're talking about like growing the leadership thing. One thing that I'm working on right now is understanding that you don't need more necessarily. Sometimes you actually have to take things away. So like if you could wave a magic wand right now and have every leader unlearn one thing tomorrow, what do you think that should be?
They're enough. My gosh. I see some people, they keep searching and taking more classes or listening. They're always searching, but they're not doing. So apply. Take some of the noise away and take one thing and apply it.
Yeah. That's huge. And it doesn't have to be perfect. I know you already mentioned it, but like imperfect action is huge. As far as doing it. And a lot of us, and myself included, especially early on in my career, was, I would learn, and then when you learn, it's like you climb to the top of the mountain, and then when you get to the top of the mountain, you can see the next mountain. So you go, oh, that one's higher. So you climb down that mountain, you run to the next mountain, and you climb to that one, and then you can see the next one. And that's like true in life in any type of skill set. Once you get to a new pinnacle or a new peak, you can see a lot more. And when you can see a lot more options end up coming to play. And that's like a double-edged sword, right? And if you don't wield that properly, you can end up hurting yourself, is what I think you're saying, right? Is that?
Yeah, so we've gone to different trade shows, we've done different things, and I see people over and over and over. Business owners over and over and over. They're grabbing on the next shiny thing. What's the flavor of the month? And they take all this information and then they don't do anything with it. Mm-hmm. Sometimes there's too much information, too much noise. What are you searching for?
Yeah.
You have answers out there. You have answers. You're enough. Trust that. Yes, align yourself with people who are like-minded. Get yourself in some type of a group. There's Vistage. There's different groups that will help you, yet you have to do something. And that frustrates the heck out of me when people don't take action.
Yeah. I mean, and that is a difficult thing to deal with. I'm friends with one of the people at I'm not going to name the names, but a very big training company that everybody on this call would probably know. And he was talking about how he sold a $500,000 package to a company, and they never even logged in. Could you imagine dropping $500,000 to do training for you and your team and all kinds of other stuff and never logging in? Like that, like when he told me that, I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. He goes, no, man, I'm dead serious.
But people do that all the time. I mean, how many times, and I have apps, right? I'm like, oh, short form, yes, I'll get the subscription. Do I read it? No. There's so many different things. There's so many resources. That's why I say sometimes it's too much.
Yeah.
What are you searching for? And once you commit to something, commit.
Yeah.
Do the work.
Yeah.
Do something with it. So you log in, $500,000 in training, then make it sticky. It's habits, it's routines, it's patterns. Hire someone that creates accountability with you. We do EOS. Actually, Eric is now an integrator for EOS, and it is powerful. It is a game changer because it forces your company to get clarity on your goals, your rocks, your to-dos, and our L10 meetings are non-negotiable.
Yes.
Non-negotiable.
Yeah, we do the
Yeah.
same thing at my service company that we operate, and that's helped us grow substantially and keep everybody aligned. Because when you have vision and vision, you get division. So by keeping everybody aligned, running in the same direction, is it perfect? No, it's not
No.
perfect, but it pushes us in ways that we've never thought possible before. So that's a great resource.
Well, it's accountability. It's whatever you do, whatever you want. We have so much information out there. When I say take action, have your group, and I'm going to go back to something, we talk about what happens in Bold, how crazy it is that people come together and what you get. It reminds me, and sometimes I talk about this, not to go religious, but there's so many different parallels within Bible stories, but the Tower of Babel. When the Tower of Babel, all these people, they had this vision, they were going to build, a tower to the heavens. And it says they were in one accord, meaning they all had the same vision, they were all working together, and they're building this tower. And God looks down at them and says, they're going to reach here, and I'm not ready for them yet.
Right.
And he divided them. And when you have clarity of vision, when people are working together, when there's non-negotiables and you help support and encourage and you refuse to sympathy vote people, what we're capable of, that is you go far. That really is what happens. But it's not just that it happens in Bold, it's in companies. Could you imagine having alignment? Yes, we have different personalities and values and different things. But when we have a clarity of vision, we know who we are, we're working together, we see the human and we support them, we hear them, we value them, we listen to them. You're going to get so much more engagement in life.
Yes. And I completely agree when it comes to getting everybody aligned. And it's really interesting. And one of the ways that we do that here is the understanding that there's only one truth and there's multiple perspectives of that truth. I've heard many people talk about that, and then you see all kinds of analogies. But my daughter recently just started watching this show called Win or Lose, which is really, really interesting. It's a children's show, cartoon or whatnot, but it's about a championship team winning the game or this baseball game that they're doing. And each episode is the same day, but viewed from a different perspective of everybody on the team, the coach, the pitcher, the catcher, the outfielders, the fans or whatever. It's got every episode is a different critical part and how the kids are dealing with pressure from parents or pressure from outside influences and the team and things that they're dealing with and how they're seeing things. So it was, and I'm just starting to watch this with her because she's like, Dad, you're doing all this stuff. She goes, I got something that I want to coach you on. And she's showing me this show. And I'm like, man, as I'm watching it, I'm like, this is a kid show, but there are a lot of things that can be perceived from this. So as you're talking about that, that's what's starting to play in my mind. And the identities that each person has, like when somebody goes to Bold, like, and they start to do like the bold thinking and they think, oh, well, I need strategy, but what they really need is like identity. Like, how do you spot that? And like, how do you draw that out from them?
It's who are you? What are your ideas? What are your beliefs? What can you control? So if they're looking at identity, and and we all there's some part of us that needs significance, right? But why? What is it what's your part in this? How can you come alongside? There's so many different, it's a big question. And it's different.
Somebody really special to me told me to, be bold and be out there. So I got to come with big questions when Mary's on the show.
I know, but it's different for everyone. It's not, even with life, it's not one size fits all. So when you're looking at identity, why is that important? Is it a limiting belief? And we all have beliefs, right? We all have different identities that we hang our hat on. We have different stories that we hang our hat on. And we're helping people reassess, is it serving you? Is it empowering you? Is it empowering other people? Or is it limiting you? Is it keeping you stuck? Are you blaming? Are you making excuses? Or are you open to leveling up? We don't know what we don't know. And whether I'm coaching someone one-on-one, whether it's some of our college sports teams, whether it's businesses, whether it's in Bold, we're constantly bringing that awareness of that individual as a contributor. How are they showing up?
How do you get somebody to be more clear and aware of the perspective that they're seeing things from, or their personality, or, identity, whatever it is? Like, how do you help somebody get clarity on that?
Well, first I have to figure out how to get trust with them so I can ask them questions. If people do not trust the person that is coaching them, they're not going to open up. So getting some type of a level playing field, and usually, oftentimes I'll use me. I'll be open, because the more authentic I can be, the more wise I can give, the more people know that I truly want the best for them. And through questions, compassion, empathy, listening, you'll get people to start to open. They'll be open to, we also use intermetrics, which has disc in it.
Yes.
So when I know someone, even the way they're wired, not that it's a gospel, like a perfect magic pill, right? But there's different ways that we can understand and identify different people's personalities. What do they need? We get so concerned so many times as a leader that we have to do it. It needs to come from us. But we sometimes are our worst enemy. How do we step back? Questions are the answers. We've had people that, if they're challenging, we bring them in. We don't make them wrong. We make them right. So I get where you, truly coming from a place that it's empathetic, I understand where you could see it that way. I get where you're coming from. Would you be open to looking at it a little bit through a different lens?
See, that right there, that is the clarity that so many people are striving for. And, not everybody gets the opportunity to have those types of conversations. There's a lot of people listening might be thinking hey, I'm so defensive because every time I open my mouth, I'm being shut down or whatever. Dale Carnegie talks about the number one rule in his thing is don't criticize, condemn, or complain. So as we get into this, I want to talk to the one person who's listening and knows that it's time for something deeper. Someone's listening right now and they feel like maybe there's something in them that's waking up. Maybe Mary has said something that's getting them fired up inside, but they don't know where to go next. So if someone feels like they're drifting, but they still have the fire inside them, what's one thing that you'd say to them, the people that are listening right now?
So what do you do? What are your morning routines, right? What's your focus? What can you do? Not what can't you do, what can you do? What do you want? What you want wants you, and you have to give yourself permission. And there's so many times I see people who they're drifting, there's still a little fire, they're numb, and we get comfortable. Our comfort zones, we love our comfort zones, but nothing will change if nothing changes. And if you're done being comfortable, if you're done being numb, and you want to stoke that fire, find someone who is going to elevate you, someone who's going to push you, who won't allow you to make excuses. We are who we surround ourselves with. And if you're surrounding yourself with people who will coddle you, who, they'll support the story, they're not helping you get out of the trap. It's the crab in the crab pot.
Yes.
So find somebody, something that is going to push you and challenge you. And don't just find them, take action on it. If you have an accountability partner, Reach out to them. Hey, I'd love for you right now. I'm struggling right here. I want to start working out and I'm struggling on my own. Can I just use you as a check-in? I'm going to do it 4 days this week and I'm going to text you every time I do it. That's action. That's something you can control, but it's something that you're doing.
Now, I want to get real for a second with you. Like, I know we've talked about this. Who is someone that's not a good fit to go through like the Bold program? Because I remember you were having me help find some people last minute, and you're like, but this isn't a place for people to come to get fixed, right? So can you kind of like dive into that a little bit?
People who don't want to learn and grow. So a lot of times we'll have companies that, the leadership goes and they're looking at sending other people. And sometimes they go, well, Jimmy is not producing in sales. And I know that as there's a direct ROI, when people go through Bold, their sales close ratio goes up. Like they do so much better. And they're like, well, I just need him to get his, crap together. Well, if Jimmy doesn't want to go and he's comfortable being where he's at, Bold is not a fit for them. We want people who are hungry, and it's not that you're broken. Like there's always something. If you're looking at what can I do to level up, what don't I know? What is something that will challenge me to play bigger in life? Not just the noise, but actually will push you into action. Mm-hmm. Not just a trade show to go find out about this, but you're doing a deep dive into yourself. Those are the people who go. But the people who are complacent, I hate that word. When people go, I'm good. Those are the people that it's not a fit for right now.
Yeah. And I appreciate that you are very transparent about, some people just aren't meant for Bold. Not that you don't want to help them, but they got to be ready to accept it. But that's also protecting the people that are going through it. Like as someone who's gone through it, when I first came in, I didn't know what to expect. And there was people from, other executives in the room to, moms and everything else in between that was in that room. But there was a bunch of people who were ready. Yeah. And that makes all the difference in the world. So like you as a leader, making that determination and actually rejecting some people that might not be ready for it. And it's not that like, and it's wild. Like even if they could pay for it, you said, hey, no, like they have to be ready and they have to be a good fit. So for those who are actually ready, where can they find you and get closer to the work that you're doing and maybe do some stuff with you, whether it's Bold or another one of your programs?
drivenleadership.com. Yeah, our website, drivenleadership.com, is the best. Info at drivenleadership.com or Mary at drivenleadership.com. We also have Instagram. We're not very big on social media. So if you go to search for us, you might not find, there's some stuff. We also do podcasts on YouTube, but the best way would be drivenleadership.com.
Awesome. Now, the thing that I want you guys to understand, and this is something that I learned years ago, that best known typically beats best. And what I mean by that is that there are programs that are out there that are very loud and they have thousands and thousands and thousands of people that have gone through them. I've been through some of them myself. And what I can tell you is sometimes hidden away, like special little gems that are getting pulled out, there are things that are bigger breakthroughs, people that actually care about you, that can do a lot for you. And whether you choose to work with Mary or not, it's not about that. I just want you to understand that. Just take a look and see if, some of you listening, it might be not the right time. And there's others that you're listening to this and I'm like, man, I'm really connected with Mary and I understand why DJ waited to have her as the first guest, right? Because you see her as special as I do. Check out, drivenleadership.com and all that stuff. We'll link it in the show notes. But before I let you go, Mary, I want to hit a few final soul shots. Is that good with you?
Let's go.
So
let's run to the roar.
Yeah. There we go. Hey, this is supposed to be like, just fun and honest. Like these are short, not, these are short and small, like just quick little punches from the heart. I'm going to shoot these out for you.
Let's
so
go.
What are you currently learning that's humbling you?
Oh, I am reading The Mountain Is You by Brianna West.
Are you really?
Yeah, I
Oh my
am.
God. I
I am.
literally just picked that up myself. So
Yep.
that's funny that you're going through that. That's awesome.
Yeah. So there's things that I sabotage myself on, and I struggle with control. So that's letting that go and why I'm resisting things. Yeah.
So
So I'm
if
doing
you,
some soul searching.
okay,
Whatever
no,
I teach, I want to learn. I actually just went through a
yeah.
leadership training myself, and I wanted to be the student, and it was so powerful.
Yeah, and that's what I did through yours. If you remember when when I was going through, I'm like, "Oh, I'll help you anyway," and you're like, "DJ, stop! Like, just be a student." And because I went into it with a like a helping mindset, and I'm so glad you did that. Um, Now, if your edge had a name, like a character or a flavor or whatever, what would it be?
My edge had a name. I want to say shitstorm, but because I stir it up, like, right?
Yeah, but that's how you
Um,
get some good stuff, man.
well, and it is like if my edge had a name, it really that's the word that came to my mind.
But that's what these are supposed to be fun.
I
But you know
know
what though? Like life is messy
it
sometimes, right?
is.
And leadership is messy. Like
Yeah.
everybody, like that's. I'm going through this thing right now about like advertising and stuff like that, and it was really interesting. This creative director, he does like Hollywood type movies and all that type of stuff, and they're running these Facebook ads, and they're finding that the more edgy and raw and messy that the ads are, it appeals to more people and they're getting better conversion rates on those ads as opposed to the clean and polished stuff. The more edgy and unpolished it is, the better the conversion rates. So
Yeah,
shitstorm
so
could
shitstorm
be
because I stir up shit. Sometimes I am the shit
you
storm.
are the shit. Um so what are you willing to outgrow even if it's painful coming up? Like you're talking about this transformation you're going through.
Some of my bad habits that getting myself back into working out, being healthier in the morning, getting out of the habit of checking. I've been doing better, and sometimes I still fall, but checking my phone in the morning first thing,
Mm-hmm.
that is because whatever you put into yourself first is whatever you focus on grows. And so I've got to take care of me in a healthier way in the morning more consistently.
Okay. Two more questions here.
Okay.
One is what's your actual uncommon edge? Not like the brand version, but the real version. You know, Mary, you talked about like that you like to be raw and uncut. What's the raw and uncut uncommon edge of Mary?
Actually, the thing is it's passion and authenticity. I'm one of the most passionate when I believe in something. Whoo, look out. When I don't believe in something, I don't shove my ideas or agenda at people. When I don't believe in something, I'll step back. I let people be who they are. But I am passionate about life. I'm passionate about living. And I'm real, authentic.
And what does uncommon edge mean to you?
What's that difference? Your uniqueness. Yeah,
That
it's
unique
what makes us unique. What's different? What's our superpower?
I
And so
love
many
it.
times, when I said earlier, uncommon. I thought, well, other people have it. No, there's nobody like us. And even if someone else is passionate or authentic, they're not me.
Yeah.
They're not
100%.
you. So
100%.
how do we bring that superpower, that uncommon, that dream, that fire that's inside of us in our way? Because people need it.
I appreciate you, Mary, so much. Mary, you've helped thousands sharpen who they are. But today, I hope we got to reveal more of your edge and the one that makes you uncommon in the best way absolutely possible. Those of you who are listening, if you know someone that wants to bring out their uncommon edge and help other people sharpen theirs, look no further than go to uncommonedgepodcast.com and you can fill out a form to be a guest on the show. Mary, again, thank you so much for your time today. Is there any other final thoughts that you want to leave the listeners with today?
Well, first, I just want to thank you because I am just honored to be here. I am so grateful to have you in my life, and I love what you're doing. And to the listeners, there is actually I referred to Napoleon Hill earlier, Think and Grow Rich. And he has a story about 3 feet from gold. And sometimes we get so stuck in just the grind. And when we're ready for the breakthrough is usually when it's the hardest. Keep going, because what you want, you keep doing the work consistently, you will get the results. So 3 feet from gold, baby.
I love it. And run into the roar. Everybody stand out and stay sharp. Until next time.
Can I add something? I just want to add something.
Add something.
So I just heard, I heard somebody who was talking about the buffalo and the cows. I think I told you this, and it reminded me of Run to the Roar. They said when a storm comes, the buffalo run to the storm and through the storm because they know that when the storm is there, when they can run through it, they get through it faster. Cows, they look at a storm coming and they run the opposite way. The storm is still coming, it just prolongs the storm. So be that buffalo, run through the storm so you can get through it faster, which is really also running to the roar. So there you go.
I love that little
Isn't that
nugget.
good?
And I've been through the course. I didn't hear that one. So that's good. I appreciate the last little minute add on there.
Yeah.
Everybody, again, thank you, Mary, for coming to the show. And remember, stand out and stay sharp. Till next time. See you then.